Okay, so what we did before was we looked at importing raster art into a vector application. Now we're going to look at exporting vector art into a raster application. There's a number of different ways I can do this. I can import it and keep it in vector, or I can convert it to raster. So let's take a look. So I'm going to go to Illustrator, and on the screen what I've done here is I've created a circle and a square, and this is our artwork that we're going to use for this exercise. So what I'm going to do first is I can go to File, and I can choose Save As, and I can save it as a PDF. And we went through the PDF options in one of the earlier exercises. I can also go up to File, and I can come down and choose Export, Export for Screens. And I choose the directory, the folder where I want the art to go. I can choose to open the art after I've exported it, and then I can choose the format and the scale. So I'm going to export it as a PNG. If I export it as a PNG, I am converting it from vector to raster. I click Export Artboard, and I'm going to overwrite the original file. I've saved the file as test. I'm going to overwrite the file, and it's going to open up the document. Here's the original file, my Adobe Illustrator. I saved as test, and then inside of the folder is the document that I created and turned into a PNG file. So I saved the original document as a Adobe Illustrator file. That's just a good habit to get into. I can also go to File. I can go down to Export, and actually I really like the Save for Web utility. It's a legacy, which means that it's a little older, but I think it works really well. Let's look at the options. One is I can choose to export to GIF or JPEG or PNG. I'll choose PNG again. I can choose whether or not there's a transparency, and then it's giving me the dimensions of my art. And once again, what I'm doing in this case, if I choose GIF or PNG or JPEG, I'm converting my vector art into raster. I click Save, and I choose the folder. I'm going to put it into that practice folder, save it as a PNG. I'll give it a new name and save it. So in this case, what I've done is I've taken that vector art and I've exported it from Adobe Illustrator into other formats, a PNG, a JPEG, a TIFF. That's going to take it, convert it from vector to raster. Now, the other thing I can do is actually copy and paste directly from Illustrator into Photoshop. So if I select these two shapes and choose Control-C, or go up to Edit and choose Copy, then I'll jump over to Photoshop, and I'm going to create a blank document by going to File and choosing New. And what Photoshop's going to do is it's going to recognize the last time I cut a copy, and it's going to remember the dimensions and the resolution and the color mode of that. I'm going to click Create, and I've got a canvas, and now I can paste. If I hit Control-V, or I go to Edit and choose Paste, you'll see that I have some options as how I paste this document down. One is the Smart Object, 2 is Pixels, 3 is a Path, or 4 is a Shape Layer. Let's take Smart Object, click OK, and you'll see that I've pasted this down as a Smart Object. If you work with Photoshop, you know what the properties of a Smart Object are, then you understand that this is a very powerful option indeed. And so I can click Commit, and I have successfully imported my vector art as a Smart Object. Okay? Now, let's look at doing that again, and this time let's choose another one of the options. So it's doing some work here. Let's let it finish doing its thing. Okay, so it's rendering a replace document. It's taking a little bit of time. Let's go to a few minutes. Let's let it finish up, and then I'll show you some other options. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that layer off. I'm going to make a new layer, and I'm going to hit Paste again, and this time we'll look at pixels. So if I choose pixels as an option, then basically what I've done is I've imported that piece of art as pixels, which means that I can paint right over it, right? It's no longer vector, it's been imported as pixels. So I'm going to close those layers, and I'm going to click the Make New Layer button, and I'm going to hit Paste again, and this time I'm going to choose Path. I'm going to click OK, and what it does is it brings in a vector path. If I know how to use paths, I can go to Window, go down to Paths. I have my palette and my document is loaded in the paths palette, and then I can use that to make a stroke or make a selection and do other things with that path palette, make a mask and so on and so forth with that vector path, okay? So there's my path, and I can go here and I can fill the path or stroke the path. And so on. Let's see here. Let's do a stroke. So I clicked into the paint layer, choose stroke path, and I'll choose the brush, click OK, and I've successfully stroked that path. So that's another way to use that. Now that path is hovering above the actual layer, and I can turn the path off to reveal the artwork that's been painted onto the document. Let's look at the last option. I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to paste again, Control V. And the last option is the shape layer. I'm going to click OK. And it just pastes it in as a vector shape, and everything is on that one layer. And it's taken the color out of it. And these are just shapes that can be manipulated on the screen. So I can click and I can go in and modify them if I know how. And that is some of the different options of how I can take my Illustrator art and convert it or export it from Illustrator into raster environments. It depends on how you plan to use it. So I can go from Illustrator into Photoshop or from Photoshop into Illustrator.